4, 3, 2, 1. All right, hello. Hello and welcome. Hello and welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Welcome to another episode of the Empowered Immigrant Live. I'm your host, Otis Landerholm. I'm so happy to be with you here today. It is the 15th of September of 2022. And we're live, everybody. We're live on Facebook and YouTube and Instagram and TikTok all at the same time. I love it. And so welcome, and thank you for joining me. Today, our topic is common mistakes in asylum interviews. And so if you have an asylum case, we want to pay attention to this because eventually you'll be scheduled for an interview, and I want that interview to go as well for you as possible, okay? So welcome, everyone, and thank you for being here. Remember, at the Empowered Immigrant Live, we're here to train, to teach, to inspire, and to empower immigrants to make the most out of immigration law and to make the most out of their lives, all right? Today, our theme is common mistakes in asylum interviews. And my question for you is, do you want to win immigration status this year? Is now your year to come out of the shadows and apply for something? Because if so, I'd love to help you with that. My firm, my team, is on a mission to win 10,000 cases by 2035, and we would love for your case to be one of them, all right? And now part of the Empowered Immigrant Live, I'm here to empower folks. Like, that includes ask me your questions, send me any question you have, and I'll do my best to answer it right here, right now, live, okay? And so, and thank you for everybody that asked your question ahead of time. I will get to those here after I discuss our theme, which again, today our theme is common mistakes in asylum interviews. But before we get to that, before we get to immigration law, I want to start by giving an empowerment tip. I like to do this, all right? So the thing that I want to suggest and to have us consider today is that most people in their mind, in their head, they're thinking of doing something. Most people either second guess themselves, doubt themselves, or just flat out think poorly about themselves. Okay? If you calm the mind and pay attention to your thoughts that you say to yourself on a daily basis, often people say things like, oh, I'm not doing enough, right? I'm not doing enough for my kids. I'm not doing enough for my spouse. I'm not doing enough for my job, right? Or I'm not good enough. All right, I should have done this, I should have done that. Or I don't deserve more, right? Or whatever it is, or even silly things, starting in grade school, right? Oh, I'm not good at math. Oh, I'm a bad speller, right? Whatever it is, it's like there's some negativity that is often inside of our thoughts about the things that we do, about our own selves. And I want to encourage you to examine that. Like, ask yourself the question, what do you believe about yourself? Right? Do you think you're like damaged in some way? Or is there anything that you think that's negative about yourself? Because if you're honest with yourself, there probably is something negative there. All right? And it's very difficult to like achieve great things or achieve what you want to achieve in your life when you're kind of wading through negativity inside your own head. All right? And so I want you to examine it, right? And to be empowered, it's like, hey, let's really look at it. What do you believe about yourself? Because if there's negativity in there, then like see it. See it for what it is. Stop it, all right? And start to discipline your thoughts to start to think positive about yourself, right? Like, think of all the amazing things that you've done. Repeat yourself. Wow, I love my life. I love who I am. My life is amazing for all of these reasons, right? Just that belief can lead you down a new road towards greater success, all right? It certainly will lead you down a better road than negative thinking will. something to think about. All right, that's my empowerment tip today. Take it on. Take it on. Let me know how it goes. All right? Sometimes growth as a human being, becoming the person you want to become, requires really examining the thoughts about yourself, the beliefs you have about yourself. Sometimes they weren't even yours to begin with. Sometimes they were your parents' belief about you, which often was your parents' beliefs about them, all right, projected onto you. Anyway, that's all I got to say about that. Now we're going to turn into our legal topic, all right? My legal topic today is common mistakes in asylum interviews. Christopher, I see you there. Hello. RMG, hello. Gonzalez, Henry, hello. Yeah, hello. Thank you, everybody that I see here with me. I really appreciate your all being here. So, common mistakes in asylum interviews. Remember, in an asylum case, the asylum interview is like it's like the most critical piece of the whole case. All right, it's where the whole case comes together. If we're talking an affirmative asylum case. So, common mistakes in that interview. You don't want any mistakes. You want to minimize the mistakes. But the first common mistake that I see, and the first piece of advice there, is don't go to the asylum interview unprepared. All right? And so the first thing you want to do is you want to review first all the information in your forms, all the language and words that were in your declaration, line by line, carefully. Like, is it 100% accurate? All right? Is it still accurate? Maybe it was 100% accurate when you signed it originally, but often 2, 3, 4 years go by before the interview. So is it still accurate? Is there something that needs to be updated? All right? When you go in, you don't want to contradict what was already put in the forms, right? Unless you need to explain that, hey, there was an error, you need to correct an error, or you need to update some information. Those things are fine. But you want to go in prepared to do that. Yo, asylum officer, on review, before our interview, I caught the, line 5 of this page of this form is no longer accurate. I need to update it. Okay, let's get me your updated information. Not a problem, all right? But if you do that, you go in looking prepared, all right? And then you're not saying things that contradict things that are in your form, okay? Common mistake number 2 is you do not want to go in with a lack of clarity, not clear about the law and how it applies to your case. Okay, you want to understand asylum law. Asylum law, the basics of asylum law can be understood with just, putting in a few hours of time to understand it. All right, I've got videos, I've got courses, I've got YouTube channels dedicated to the topic of asylum law. All right, and so it's available. It's available. You can find it and talk to a lawyer. That's what lawyers are here for. Don't go in unclear about asylum law and unclear about the strengths and the weaknesses in your case, how the law applies to the facts of your case. Now remember, to win asylum, you've got to show you have a well-founded fear of persecution on account of one of 5 things. It's got to be on account of your race, your religion, your nationality, your political opinion, or your membership in a particular social group. If you're not clear on which of those things is your best argument, or which, it could be multiple, which are the arguments that, that could work in your case, then that is a huge problem. You want to be crystal clear about, are you arguing it's a race case or a religion case or a nationality case or a political opinion case or a particular social group case? And if it's a particular social group case, which is very common, how are you articulating the particular social group in your case? Because just that alone could make or break your whole argument. Okay? Like, you've got to be clear about what you will be arguing in your interview and how you could demonstrate your eligibility in an interview. You also want to be aware there are legal bars to asylum. The 1-year bar is the most common, But there are others, right? The firm resettlement bar, for example, if you have legal status or have had legal status in another country, all right? The particularly serious crime bar, if you have a criminal conviction against you, all right? You want to examine those things well before your interview so that you understand the law involved. Now, the other thing is no case is flawless. Every case is different. You want to understand the law. You want to understand what are the strengths and the weaknesses in your case so that you can highlight the strengths during your interview and so that you also can explain the weaknesses in a way that doesn't damage your chances because you want to win, okay? So don't go in unclear about the law. That's the second mistake that I see a lot when I'm reviewing asylum cases, okay? I'm seeing some folks on Instagram. Hello. I'm seeing some folks on YouTube and Facebook and TikTok. Hello. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to go through it. Mistake number 3, common mistake number 3 in an asylum interview. Don't go in unorganized or scattered, okay? When you are in the interview, you want to practice your story about what happened to you and why you would be afraid to go back. And you want it to be chronological, clear, so that it can make sense to the officer. If you are unorganized about what happened in the past, it will lead to confusion in the conversation between you and the asylum officer. It can lead to mistranslations if you're working through an interpreter. It can lead to misunderstandings. And you don't want there to be any misunderstandings in your interview. The best way I've found to avoid that is to be as organized as you can about the details of what happened when about your situation. Okay? Don't go in unorganized. That is a common mistake. Okay? We're doing great, everybody. Remember, we're going through the common mistakes that I see in asylum interviews because I don't want you to avoid them. Mistake number 4, don't have inconsistencies. All right? Now, I should, just to back up about this one, which it should be obvious, you have to be honest in your case, right? Asylum law is harsh on this point. If you lie, if you fabricate any part of your case, you could be found to have filed what they call a frivolous asylum application, which is like really bad. All right? You don't want that. That's really bad. It bars you from any immigration benefit for the rest of your life. So don't file a frivolous asylum case. Be honest, yes. But inconsistencies happen even when you're honest. Okay? And so it's more than just being honest. You also want to be consistent. And that means you want to be careful about the words that you're using and the explanations that you are giving. All right? If someone kicked you, don't say they beat you. Well, I don't know. Anyway, my point is, if like a physical assault or might be a different meaning, right, than what you meant to describe in your interview. In your interview, maybe you were thrown into maybe you were thrown into a room and threatened in a room or something like that. And if you use the term like you were beaten for the rough throwing that they threw you into the room, you want to be careful about things like that because the asylum officer is going to be asking, okay, did they throw you into the room or did they beat you or both? And they might think of those as two separate words, two separate ways to describe two different things. And if you're using them to describe the same thing, then the asylum officer might get confused. You know what I mean? You want you want to be conscientious about the language and the way you say it, right? You know, it's often like, oh, they beat me up, as like a general statement. Well, what really happened? You know, when you're in your interview, I recommend using language that is clear about what really did occur, so that it helps the officer understand what was really going on. Okay, that's a nuance perhaps, but you would want to think this through with your lawyer ahead of time. Pay attention to the language that is used, because the asylum officer is paying attention to the words that are coming out of your mouth, comparing them to the words that were in the declaration, and you don't want inconsistencies in those places. Okay? My tip number 5, and then we'll get into your questions. My tip number 5 is do not go alone. Okay? Yes, have a lawyer go with you. You need a lawyer to represent you at the asylum interview, and have a lawyer prepare you, and have a lawyer represent you, fight for you, be ready to fully understanding your case and your situation. Okay? Asylum interviews are serious. You do not want a lawyer this is their first case. You want a lawyer that takes it seriously. Also, if you're not 100% fluent in English, go in with an interpreter. All right? Between those two things, you're going in with a team. You and your team, all right, to fight for you. Your interpreter, your lawyer. No one should ever go to an asylum interview alone. Don't go alone. It is a mistake. Okay? Those are my 5 most common mistakes in an asylum interview. I hope they were useful. I hope they were helpful. Let me know if they were. Now, let me get into some questions. You know, the question that I have here actually comes from Frederick. And Frederick, your question, thank you for asking it, but honestly, it is outside of my wheelhouse. Okay? And so, Frederick, you're saying, I got a job offer from a trucking company. I currently work on an H-2A visa, which is an employment-based immigration, non-immigrant visa. Which visa would I need to work legally as a truck driver? I have a social, I have a CDL, commercial driver's license. I need papers to renew my license. Would you be able to help me, and what's the cost with that, and things like that? Okay. So, Frederick, thank you for asking that question. Non-immigrant visas are not what my firm currently does. As of today's date, September 15th, 2022, non-immigrant visas, H-2As, H-1Bs, L-1s, O-1s, Ps, all the list of non-immigrant visas that people are applying for from outside the U.S. to enter to work at a company. They are not the types of cases that my firm handles. All right, we don't do that type of work. Our firm fights for the rights of immigrants who are facing deportation or who are undocumented in the United States. And so people who are looking for, and we do family-based immigration also. So questions that I would have for you is, are you married? Are you in a relationship? Have you ever been the victim of any crime in the United States? The U visa is a benefit that can work for that. Do you have anyone who could file a family-based petition for you? Are you afraid for your life to return to your country, and are you interested in asylum, the asylum process? Those are the types of things that my office could help you with. And if you really want help either renewing this particular visa that you have or giving you, a consultation about that, please feel free to contact my office. Everybody can contact my office absolutely free, and we can provide you with, depending on your situation, a referral to a qualified team who does that type of work. Okay? So that's something that you want to be aware of, and we can certainly at least help you, give you an evaluation, and recommend someone who we trust that does that type of case. Okay? So let's see. I don't see that we've received any other questions here so far today, which is totally fine. And And so if you do have a question, please go ahead and send it in. I'll answer it next time. I guess I'll stop here for now. And I really appreciate everybody being here. All right, you guys are amazing. You guys are awesome. And if this was useful, hey, please subscribe to our channel in YouTube. Please click the notifications bell. You'll get additional legal updates and news as we upload those videos. And if you have an immigration case, if my office can help you in any way, hey, please give us a call. We are here to help. We'd love to help you. Okay? So let's see. It looks like I am getting a question right now. Carlos, thanks for sending that over. So Juan, I see that you have a question. Thank you for asking it. You say, how could I be able to demonstrate credible fear when cases are taking longer and longer? My case was first filed in June of 2016. Okay. So Juan, thank you for asking that. So you filed for asylum. The term credible fear is a slightly different term. Don't use that term. You want to say, how can I demonstrate asylum? How can I demonstrate a well-founded fear of persecution in my asylum case after all this time has passed? Well, let's figure out which country you're from. Let's figure out what exactly has happened since June of 2016. If everything's bright, sunshiny, and rainbows, and all happy and good in your country, then yeah, you might lose. All right, you might. Unless there's a situation that you're facing where you've received death threats and you've received attacks or some kind of persecution in the past, and if the situation in your country hasn't materially changed since the time you left, you're still eligible for asylum. You still have a case. All right? And so start with what happened to you, and then back it up with what is going on in your country. Your lawyer can help you with that, right? And we can update and show and demonstrate, hey, there are still bad things happening. I don't care what country you're from. There are problems that are still happening in every country that can be highlighted when you go into an asylum interview. All right? It's called the harsh reality of the world out there. And so, Juan, if you have questions, like, thank you for asking that question. If you have questions about the strategy, or maybe the best strategy about your case and your process, hey, consultation, let's do that. All right? Because whenever your interview notice comes in, you're going to have about 30 days. All right? And so you're going to want a lawyer ready to create that strategy, fight for you, and submit it. If you've already got a lawyer who's a great lawyer and helping you, great, right? Talk to them, have them strategize that with you. But if you don't, like, you know, it's good to talk that through, think that through, have that strategy ready for when that immigration interview comes. All right. RMG, thank you for asking your question on Instagram. You say, hey, will you be doing a live regarding aggravated felonies? Well, RMG, well, heck, you know, now that you've asked it, I guess I'd better do it. You know, I think I have done one on aggravated felonies this year. I think it was back in March. I could go back and find that and send it to you if you want to see that. But yeah, but I love it. I love it nonetheless. So thank you for asking that question. Absolutely. I will schedule one. I think we've got our next 2 weeks of these live events planned already. But week number 3, we could do it on aggravated felonies. Why not? All right. So thank you for that. Hey, anybody else out there, if you have like a topic or a theme that you want me to address on, I'm all ears. I eat that up. I love it. All right. I love it. So, all right, RMG, I see you. Thank you for that. That's so great. So, all right, Juan, thank you for asking your question. Frederick, thank you for asking your question. RMG, thank you. I appreciate it. Everybody on TikTok, hello. Instagram, hello. YouTube, hello. Facebook, hello. Thank you all so much. I really appreciate your time and your being with me here today. It's 10:30. I love it. Let's see, you know, if you have an immigration case, please give us a call. We're here to help. Subscribe to our channel if it was useful. My name's Otis Landerholm, Landerholm Immigration, A.P.C, where we fight for your American dream, and I will see you next time on another episode of the Empowered Immigrant Live. Thanks a lot. Take care.